Sometimes people may think I'm being elitist if I don't prefer English dubs in games or anime. But you have to understand, some of the English dubs from my childhood sounded like this.
Wu's fate hangs in the balance of this fight. I shall gladly place my life on the line.
Do not say that. You should never tempt fate.
You know, in a world where things are rapidly changing all the time, you can appreciate some things that is constant, like Mario Kart, FIFA, and Dynasty Warriors. Whether you love it or hate it, these warrior slash Muso type games are here to stay, it seems. It all started with Dynasty Warriors series, which was based on the Romance of Three Kingdoms novel. There's been many other franchises that got a warrior style game since then, but I think Three Kingdom is the best IP for this style of game. When I first played the series for the first time with Dynasty Warriors 3, it was instant love. 3D action game with lots of characters based on Romance of Three Kingdoms, sign me up. I understand that a novel about Chinese history may not be a big thing for everyone, but to me it was a very big influence. I remember Dynasty Warriors 3 being my favorite game for a long time. I took the effort to unlock all the different weapons and type of mounts. But that was the last time I really got into any Dynasty Warriors game. Surely, I dabbled in some of them as it was coming out, but it did not pull me in the same way. Did I just get bored of the series as it got stale? Or did I just get old and lose my passion for gaming? Was Dynasty Warriors 3 really that good? Am I remembering everything correctly, or am I clouded by my nostalgia? So, what made me like Dynasty Warriors 3 so much? For me, it was a never-before-seen game genre. I really don't think there was a game back then where you could kill 1,000 enemies. It's such a big dopamine rush killing hundreds of nameless soldiers. To me, the concept of the game was very fun from the beginning, and it was couch co-op as well. It was so fun that maybe I set the bar too high for expectations for future games in the series. I love these event scenes in Dynasty Warriors 3. There was also so much stuff to do in the game as well. There were numerous characters to unlock who all controlled differently, and they all had unique story mode with the unique weapon to unlock. You could also train and farm your characters to be very OP as well. There were so many hours that could be spent grinding in this game. That was pretty important to me when I bought games as a kid. How many hours of fun can I have with this game? I almost look forward to long grinding games because it almost felt like getting my money's worth. I definitely don't think like that anymore though. I don't like meaningless grinds anymore. I'm going to be playing Dynasty Warriors 8 because I remember it being one of the better ones in the series recently. It's the second newest in the series, but it's still more than 10 years old now. I mean, this was a PS3 game. The newest Dynasty Warriors mainline game is Dynasty Warriors 9, probably the most hated game in the series. I gotta admit, the negative reviews pretty much made me not want to buy the game. The game's common criticism include its empty open world, simplified game mechanics, and many clone fighters. There is a trial version available, so I recommend you at least trying that out. After trying the trial, honestly for me, it was alright. If the game was a tad bit cheaper, I would buy it.
I shall own the battlefield!
You're doing an excellent job.
I don't hate the fact that they are trying new things. I'm looking forward to the next entry in the Dynasty Warriors series. It's been 6 years since they released number 9. Dynasty Warriors Origin was announced recently. Hopefully it doesn't suck. Anyways, back to number 8. Playing Dynasty Warriors 8 was pretty fun, but I think I realized instantly that my love for Dynasty Warriors 3 was probably mostly nostalgia. Surely, graphics aren't everything, but early PS2 graphics just don't look so good anymore. I think you can still see the polygons on the characters in Dynasty Warriors 3. Also, there were not as many soldiers on the field. It used to be pretty hard to hit 1000 KOs back then. These days, you can get 1000 KOs by sneezing. Even though I don't think Dynasty Warriors 8 looks good, or even 9 for that matter, don't really look that great. But the PS2 graphics of Dynasty Warriors 3 definitely didn't age well. I originally liked the story mode in Dynasty Warriors 3 because it was available for each individual characters. It felt like there was so much content. In Dynasty Warriors 4, they changed the story mode to faction based. You beat the story mode with each faction and there wasn't much to do after regarding the story mode. It felt lazy. It's how I used to feel, but I don't feel that way anymore. Many of the Warriors games continue to have dedicated story mode for individual characters, but it honestly wasn't necessarily better. I guess I prefer a smaller amount of good story mode rather than many half-assed story modes. What's the point of having something when there is no substance? There's so many good characters in Dynasty Warriors series now, I would be surprised if they ever give everyone an individual story mode. I think the story mode in Dynasty Warriors 8 is pretty good. It is faction based in this game, but it's done very well. Compared to like Dynasty Warriors 4, you could just play the game and learn about the story of 3 kingdoms without any prior knowledge. You could never do that with Dynasty Warriors 3, you only saw fragments of the story scattered throughout the game. In Dynasty Warriors 8, on top of being able to fight through some historical battles, there are also hypothetical story routes that may form when you deviate from what actually happened historically. The story mode also covers the Jin faction, which was not available in the earlier games. Another reason why I may have thought Dynasty Warriors 3 was the best was due to lack of clone characters and movesets, which from my experience seems to be prevalent in modern Dynasty Warriors games. If you don't know what I mean, I'm talking about multiple characters or items who has the exact same moveset. I think clones suck. It's just lazy, right? Are there any reasons why clones are good that I'm not seeing? I feel like this was especially bad in Dynasty Warriors 7. There's no point in giving us a lot of characters if these characters are actually not different characters at all. Even the newest Dynasty Warriors still have a clone problem. But in Dynasty Warriors 8, they do not. In Dynasty Warriors 8, everyone feels unique to play with their unique weapons, so basically not that different from Dynasty Warriors 3. Honestly, Dynasty Warriors 3 is still a fun game to play. It may look like ass, but it still has fun action with variety of distinct characters along with tons of grind to do if you wish. It's no surprise to me that I'm fond of this game. It's a formula that worked right from the beginning. I think with the formula that worked, maybe Koei struggled to innovate. They will try new things here and there, but some things were a total miss. I don't think it's fair to say that Dynasty Warrior games are all the same as they say, because it is not. The core mechanics may not change, but it's the small difference that makes people love or hate certain Dynasty Warrior games. I always thought Dynasty Warrior 3 was the best because I enjoyed it so much as a kid, and I hated how some games in this series seems to be getting worse, like Dynasty Warriors 7. I think after playing Dynasty Warrior 3 and 8 back to back, I would have a hard time recommending anyone to play Dynasty Warriors 3. I mean, unless you only have a PS2 or something. Not because it's bad, but because it's so old now. It looks bad, it's clunky, and you can't even control your camera angle other than like resetting it to be behind your character. So yeah, I guess it may have been nostalgia that I thought maybe older Dynasty Warrior games were better. But in fact, they're just very inconsistent. Some good, some bad.
It's